but just help me know what I'm looking for. Is this like repairing buffer,
It's
floodplain?
your wetlands. We are now live.
Okay, good evening. Welcome to the October 19th meeting of the Environmental Advisory Council. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5:09. We'll start by taking the roll call. I'll go first. Cindy Mahalo, Vice Chair. Dane?
Here.
How do you do?
Dane
that?
Shoemaker,
Dane
here.
Shoemaker. Okay.
Janet Carvanus here.
Great. And we were advised in advance that Chair Sheila O'Sullivan Feeney and our other member, Joe Pinto, are unable to attend tonight. But we do have a quorum. 3 out of 5 provides a quorum. So let's have a moment of silence. And after that, we'll say the pledge. Okay. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the agenda, I'm going to propose 2 minor additions to it, just under new business. I wanted to raise the issue of recycling, especially like election signs, like just share some information and share information possibly about pumpkin recycling. And then the other thing is just to refresh on terms of office. If you could, I don't know how particular we have to be. None of these are going to require action.
So if you want to, I think we want to go ahead and amend the agenda. So you're saying under new business, you're going to have a 10.2.
Yep.
Just a report on, you said recycling of election signs,
And pumpkins.
election signs and pumpkins.
Yes. And then 10.3 would be just for you to give us a refresher on terms of office and when they expire. The reason I mentioned that is because I just got a letter saying that my term of office expires this December. And I'd forgotten that.
Okay.
And just if you could remind us of when
I don't know that I know that
Oh,
right
you
off the
don't
top
have-
of my
okay.
head, but
Okay.
so, and I don't
then we
have.
don't have to add it, but that was
But,
going to be.
I mean, I can get that information and share it with you, but I
Okay.
don't know that I know it off the top of my head.
Okay, then we don't.
But
have
I
to
mean,
have
we can
that.
talk about what a typical term is, so
Well, no, I know that it's 3 years, right?
I think it's actually 5 on this committee, but I have to look.
I think.
Is it 3? Is it 3
It's
and then
3.
2 each? There's 2 and then you're the single by you're a single. I'd have to look. Like I
Okay.
said,
Well, let's not.
let's
do
not
that
put
then.
it on.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so
I move that we add an agenda item under new business. 10.2 recycling of pumpkins and election signs. Anybody in favor? Does anybody second that?
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The agenda is updated.
So now do we approve the entire
Okay,
agenda?
so do you, I move to approve the revised agenda. Anyone second?
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So we approve the revised agenda. Okay, item number 5, public comment for agenda items only. The people? Any comments on the agenda items? Seeing no comment, we'll move on to item number 6, the minutes. I move that we approve the minutes as written, unless anybody has comment or change
For the September 21st.
for the
meeting.
September 21st meeting. Yes.
Second.
Second, okay. Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes as written?
Aye.
Okay, that passes. And number 7, presentations or update. I don't think we have anything there this month. So we'll move on to item number 8, the land development review. And it's item 8.1. Steve, is there any update on the land development application for 3111?
Actually, it got moved, I think this last week, and it's now on the November. And I don't know that we've gotten anything back from them to give to you for an update.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything in my email. So when you say it got moved to November, can we be more specific? It's on the
It's-
November Planning Commission
Yes,
agenda, and that typically is the same date as our meetings. Just want to look at the calendar.
well, it's gonna be, yeah, I don't know.
That's
Week to
affected
week.
by.
No, I know, they're the week after you. You're the same day as zoning. So they're the week after you,
Oh,
and
the
in this
fourth.
case, they will be I think the 22nd,
Okay,
or
so,
not 22nd, 21st, because Thanksgiving is on a Thursday. Uh, Typically, they meet on Thursday, and Thanksgiving is always Thursday, and so we always move it to the Tuesday.
okay. So therefore, if they circulate a revised application, and if we receive it prior to our meeting on the 16th, typically, and we want to make a comment on it, typically, we would have had until noon on Friday, the 17th, which would be enough time to submit our comment to them before they meet. But now the time frame is compressed.
It's still fine, because the issue is us getting it attached to the agenda. So we still do that on Friday.
Okay. Okay. So, if we have received anything, we would consider it and discuss it at the November 16th meeting. Okay, so no action or discussion on that. Thank you for the update. Number 9, future land development review. Have
There.
nothing there. 10.1. An update and possible action on the documentation to close out 2 DCCD grants already received and implemented. Discussion and possible action for the fall 2023 application cycle of DCC's $500 mini grant. Just FYI, there is no match required from the township. So the wording of this isn't exactly right. I went back and looked at my notes. There are 2 DCC mini grants kind of in flux right now. One was we applied at the last minute for $500 to help offset rain garden costs. That money, that grant was awarded to the township, and the funds were used as specified to help fund maintenance of the rain garden. The next step is I need to just finish writing up a report to send back to DCCD to document how the funds were used. Separate from that was a while ago, perhaps during COVID, we had applied for the $500 mini grant to do signage, educational signage about some of the green infrastructure at the parks. And that had been approved, but then it was never spent. So in a conversation with Karen Wilwall, she confirmed that those grants never expire. That they will still give us the $500 if we go ahead and do that. So I can proceed by sharing, raising the issue again with George, because he and I had talked about this years ago, but it was basically simple signs, the idea at the time was simple signs throughout like Drexel Lodge Park, identifying where there is like a low mow zone and that is intentionally left long, that there's a riparian buffer down along the lake. And that there are different features like that so that people know what it is they're looking at. That was the original intent. But as I said, we still have the $500, but that is like on my to-do list, is to follow up with him and proceed as necessary. The last thing I want to say there is, this is a wonderful little grant. It's a very simple application process. $500, you find out within like 2 days if you've got the money. So to my fellow colleagues here, you know, if you think you're interested, it's tight now. The deadline in the fall is October 30th. The spring deadline is April 1st.
And are they accepting for April 1st?
No, they're accepting now for October 30th.
But right after that, we could,
You could start thinking about it.
right, yeah. I could start thinking about it now, actually.
Yeah, and it's not a bad idea because it'll have to go through the whole discussion and approval process, and then you do need to get letters of support. So, you know,
All right.
beginning of the
And-
new year is not a
And
bad.
is there information you could send to us? Okay, or pass over to us?
This is
It's the
Delaware County, Cindy.
Delaware County Conservation District.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just looking at that to see for our audiences, people in the audience here. Like if it would be available to, like an HOA, yes. Homeowners associations. And civic associations, school-based environmental clubs. EACs, sportsman groups, things like that.
Right,
So,
excellent.
yep.
I'm a big component of signage. I think it really goes a long way to letting people who are just walking around figure out what's going on.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So moving on to 10.2. I wanted to raise this because I saw a couple things just cross my email in the last couple days about recycling, and I know we're trying to be a more sustainable township and county. And these were two very timely items that are not normally a part of our recycling stream, and that is, I noticed that Haverford Township, not through a township sponsored effort, but they have set up a pumpkin recycling where homeowners, they just distributed information about how pumpkins could be recycled. And they said, you can throw it in your trash, not the best idea. You could try to compost it, which is a good idea. Or the third is they have a local nursery that kind of like Mastardi's, but in Havertown, that is collecting the pumpkins and then going to give them to a local farm to compost and feed the animals. So I started thinking, well, why couldn't we do something like that here in Newtown Square? So I sent out an exploratory email to Stephen Stardy, Garrett Williamson, Urban Roots, just to see if I could engender some interest and connect the dots. I haven't heard back from Garrett Williamson or Urban Roots, who I would hope would be the main people that would do that. But if I do hear of anything, or if you guys know of anything, I view us as being a catalyst and a facilitator, not a sponsor. So I don't know that it would require
Just sharing the information.
any discussion, any vote or anything.
Put it out on like
Yeah.
Newtown Square and Bloom.
Yeah, if those groups are willing to do it. Linda McIsaac was the only person that reached back, and she said that she'd be willing to put together a little PDF or some flyer or something to help promote it. The second item is about election sign recycling. And again, I was thinking of taking the same approach, which is to raise the issue of, you know, is there something in place? I reached out to a couple people. I heard that the Township Democrats kind of have a system in place where they're going to try to go around and collect their signs. It's an informal effort. I think Cheryl Grosso said she collects them at her house. And then she gets them.
They can be dropped off at her house.
Yeah.
During a certain front time frame.
So if any of this information coalesces, I said maybe this would be nice to share on the township Facebook page, just to let people know that these opportunities exist.
That would be fine.
Thank you, Cindy, for
Yes.
reaching out.
Sure.
And I want to watch the animals eat the pumpkins that
Yeah.
carrot leaves. It would be fun.
Sometimes they eat the pumpkins before you're ready to let them eat the pumpkins. Okay, moving on to item 11, old business, 11.1. Discussion and possible action on the EAC's fall community outreach table events. EAC members will organize and coordinate fall community outreach table events at various stores such as Acme, Gentiles, etc. for reusable bag giveaways and community engagement table events. I don't really know anything about that. Dane, can you fill us in? I'm assuming that has to do with the bags and sustainable Newtown.
Yeah, I mean,
I
this
have
is one of
some
the,
information.
the idea is to distribute the bags that we have ordered. They are now ordered. I don't know if you guys have seen them yet, but the library has 50 now, and there's a sign that's encouraging residents that come through to take one, and there's some information about the purpose and why we're doing that, right? I know that Sheila has reached out to Acme and Gentiles. I actually just got a contact at Wawa that we're gonna try and do, but I don't know that we have a formulated plan as far as setting up tables outside of, you know, these stores to give out bags just yet. I don't even know if we have the bandwidth to do that, or if, you know, we're able to do that, right? We're getting into Christmas season, they'll have Salvation Armies and things like that outside. It's getting colder, so you know, I think that's a TBD type of bullet point right there. I think we probably will have better luck, honestly, in the spring, once we have more outside events and things like that going on, but
I think Sheila did mention that she was in contact with Acme site manager, was not able to make a commitment to do that. He needed someone higher up to okay us doing a table event outside Acme. On my own, I was, when I was in the Acme and doing the self checkout, I asked the gentleman who was there, how is the bag situation going? How many are still using the plastic bag? Said about 60% are still using the plastic bag. And they grumble at the thought of not having their plastic bags. So we have a lot of educating to do, and Sheila had asked me to kind of help to organize tabling events to get out to. Is there still a flea market that's going to be scheduled?
I know the fire, are you talking about the firehouse flea market?
I don't know.
I think that was
weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, maybe.
Okay, all right, so we didn't miss that. But anyway, I think it would be really helpful to just be able to take a clipboard someday with a small table and just ask people about their using plastic bags, get an idea of what's going on with the transition, because it's happening in neighborhoods all around us. And I don't always shop in Newtown Square, so I know I have to always bring my bag wherever I am, and I bring it even into Newtown Square, even though we don't have to. Right, so I think, as you said, it might be the spring is the time. And I know somebody, Sheila just sent a picture of a woman with her kid and one of our bags on
Yeah,
her.
did you see that?
I did see that.
Yes,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
so they.
So that's kind of the intention, kind of talking to
it's a
businesses,
great
but also
idea.
getting, you know, getting the idea out there to residents. Did also reach out to Whole Foods too. Back from them.
I'd have the same. Higher up. whatever that is.
Getting approval, yeah.
Right.
But we were really happy that Whole Foods came out to help us, her employees came out to help us with weeding. Remember that?
Oh, yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
they worked really
Great
hard.
opportunity.
They were great. Okay, thanks for the update on that. Item 11.2, discussion and possible action on the Newtown Township Comprehensive Plan recommendations. And EAC's wetland studies recommendation. The township is enacting recommendations from the comprehensive plan for the wetlands and riparian buffer ordinances. I believe that's this document.
Yeah, I just got that, this literally,
Okay,
but right before the meeting, I haven't even had a chance to look at the whole thing. I know it focuses, it's supposed to be focusing on the floodplain areas, and I think it includes the riparian buffer. What I don't think it includes, because I haven't had a chance to go through the whole thing, was the recommendation that the study be every, I think you said 3 years. And I don't know that it includes that. And so that might be a recommendation we put back. But what my suggestion would be, now that we have this, and we can share it with the rest of the committee and put it up as part of the attachment on the website, would be for you to start doing your review, and then let us know before we take it and present it to the board.
Do you know if it extends it to 100 feet? Riparian buffer?
I know it's,
Well, we'll find out.
I-
Steve, I have a couple questions about context and process.
yep,
Like, who wrote this? Where did it come from? Just. And then
So-
you've explained that the next step is for us to review it, provide comment, and then it will go to the Board of Supervisors. But
Yeah.
like,
so my thoughts are, it was, I believe it was based off of your request to reevaluate the wetland area. I'm hoping that he did the right one. It was done by this township solicitor. And so, like I said, I haven't had a chance to review it yet, to look at it. I was looking to see quickly. It talks heavily about floodplain, but I don't know that it also talks about. So I'll have to look at it to let you know, but I know that it was put together based on the information that we passed on to the township solicitor.
okay, so it was the solicitor that drafted this.
I mean, I think it was in a combination. I think we used the interns to do some research.
Yeah.
Andy did some other review. We sent it over to the solicitor and the solicitor put it together.
Okay, yeah, because I know the intern has been working on it, so.
Yeah.
Okay. And.
I know that the solicitor told me he spent most of his time looking at things that were more language / legal issue than necessarily what the whole piece was. So I have to say, I haven't looked at it since he gave it to me, so I have to let you know that. But I will look at it as well.
Okay, so again, to help us put this in context, I'm looking at the opening statement. It says that this would amend chapter 172 zoning article. What's XXB? That's not a Roman numeral.
B
XB
is not.
floodplain, quote, floodplain hazard district.
Yep.
Sections 172 or 100.12 through 172, 100.24. By deleting it in its entirety and replacing it with this new article.
Yep.
Okay, so that's helpful context so those of us who know how to go on to the existing code can go in online, see what's there, and then
Yep.
picture this as being a replacement for that. Okay, what kind of time frame?
I mean, here's what I would say, you know. If you take 2 months to go through it, then take 2 months to go through it. Like, I don't know that we have a specific time frame. Obviously. We'd like to keep it moving because we know why it's important.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the sooner that we get it back to the board, because it's a zoning one, I think it also has to go to planning commission. But so we'll work through that whole process. So it's probably like, let's assume that you guys came back at the end of November and said you liked it, it was ready to go. If the planning commission met in December, and they don't always meet in December, but if they met in December and they reviewed it, I would be looking at the middle to the end of or at middle to the end of January before we would pass it, just so like the longer you all have it before it goes to the board to go to them, the longer, I mean, but I think the key is to make sure we get it right, not just to make sure we push it through. So,
Okay, and again, that was the planning commission.
well,
Or,
because it's a zoning. Anytime we change a zoning amendment or change a zoning. Part of our code, it has to go to planning in addition, that's. NPC requires that, and so they do a review of it as well, and so.
in addition to us or in addition to zoning?
In addition to you.
Okay. Now, thank you for explaining that. This is a procedural question. There's a lot here. We may have a lot of thoughts on this. And given the sunshine law, the next time we can really discuss this is at our meeting.
Yes.
November.
Yeah, so I will tell you. Not that I want another meeting, but if you say we want to get together, if your group goes through this and you say, okay, we're ready to discuss this. And we think we need an hour to discuss this. And we don't want to spend an hour of our meeting doing that.
Yep.
I would put together another meeting for you and we would advertise it and have a meeting. And it would be more like a workshop. You would do your parts and then at your next meeting, that's your official meeting, then we would go ahead and do it. Now, the other option is if you assign 2 of you to go through it, but that doesn't give your other members a chance to weigh in. If you want to have multiple members weigh in.
Okay.
If that makes,
Okay.
is
Yeah,
that's
no, that's
clear?
helpful. So what's the sense here? You think you might, we can always circle back and we decide by email afterwards what course of action we want to take. Because to me, we have two options. Well, we have 3 options. We can discuss it in depth at our November meeting, and that might be time consuming. Second option is we can schedule a second meeting or a separate meeting. The third option is we could, as you said, assign 2 people to study it in depth, put together their recommendations and provide that to the other members. So I know there's only 3 of us here, but what do people think? What process do you think you might want to take?
My feeling is that you are the one who's so versed what's going on here. Probably a small committee, you and other.
That
To make recommendations.
Yes, that's 2 people.
2 people,
Okay.
you and.
You and me, probably. Well,
All right,
unless Dane,
you
you
and-
want to, what are your thoughts, Dane?
Sheila is also.
Is this, do we have the Cliff Notes of version of this, the difference between what's
That's-
existing versus what's?
Well, that would be on, if we went to the original and went to, the.
Yeah, I don't have a version that says, and that's the reason why he cut, I mean, it's enough different that he literally cut the old one. And
Okay.
said, we're going to replace the entire old one with this.
So as Steve said, this was drafted by the attorney. And he drew input from 3 sources. A brief that we had provided.
Right.
Work that the summer intern did. And I guess Andy Rezick, the township code officer.
And
Code
did we get
enforcement.
feedback from him on what was adapted? for
We
this,
know
or
nothing other than this.
Literally, like I
so
said,
we'll have to spend time reading.
Yes,
yes.
it's kind of dropped on our laps. Okay, well, let's
So
circulate.
here would be the
Comments
thing,
reading.
if you decide, you know, and if Sheila can call a special meeting without having to have as the chair, she can do that. And she, all she has to do is give me notice so that I can get it in the paper, because it has to be put in the paper. We still have that requirement that has to be put in the paper. So usually it takes at least 48 hours before you can have a meeting, if that makes sense. Because by the time we get it, we do it, and I have to post the agenda for it. It takes
Yeah,
48 hours.
That posting, you said you can do that in 48 hours, like to get it published in a paper?
Yeah, so.
Are there daily newspapers around?
Maybe it's an
Yeah, so we put it in the, what is it called? The Delaware County Times or whatever it is, that paper is the one that's our publication of choice. And so we always go to that one. They do a publication. I think I have to have it by 1 o'clock. The day before I want it in the paper, I have to have it in the paper 24 hours before your meeting. So that's,
We're talking like a 2-3 day lead time.
I need at least a 2 or 3 day lead time. The other challenge would be having a lead time that you all can meet, and I have the place open and that one of the staff members can be here. So,
But even if this room's not available, you've got a conference room or two upstairs.
yeah, but I have to make sure it's available to the public because it's a
Oh.
public meeting. That's the challenge. We have done it. I can do it upstairs. That's not a problem, but I have to make sure that I have, like, if we do it, like, last 2 days ago, we did it. And I had to make sure the doors were left unlocked and those kind of things, because it went after hours.
Okay. Well, TBD on that. Thank you. Moving on to item 11.3, discussion and possible.
0.2.
We did
That
two.
was-
Okay.
That one's
That's what we
done.
were discussing. I think.
0.3, discussion and possible action to further support the program. Sustainable Newtown Where Green Business Coalition. Anything on that, Dane?
I was at the township last week. We did an interview. We're filming Leonard and Steve and Suzanne for a video for the new website. And possibly stuff for, social media or something like that. So TBD on that. It'll just be kind of a 1 to 2 minute video about Green Business Coalition and some of the sustainability efforts that the township's doing. Some good PR there. Bags, I think we have some work to do, kind of going back to 11.1. Some work on how we distribute the bags. Another idea, actually Sheila had this, was something for the spring. An event where we bring the existing members together, the 15 or so businesses that have signed the pledge to do some type of an event where it's like a panel discussion or, something open to the public where they kind of share and kind of I think the format is still kind of TBD. Either it's sort of a roundtable type of session, sharing best practices, or open to the public where it's kind of more of a panel, live kind of conversation. So
I love it.
yeah, maybe a luncheon or breakfast or something like that. So might partner that with the business association. So,
I think we could get a $500 mini grant to pay for the food.
I love it.
People come for free
Maybe
food.
coffee and donuts.
Coffee and
Yeah,
donuts,
yeah,
yeah.
it's doable though. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
so
that
just
sounds great.
thinking of some different things to
Yep.
do that.
Promote the bags and.
Yeah.
No, that'd
Yeah.
be great. Okay. Let's just do it before tree planting season starts.
Sounds good.
And all that. Okay, 11.4, discussion and possible action. To approve Ms. Mahalo and Ms. Vanas attending the EAC's network fall regional conference to be held Saturday, October 21st, 2020, Westchester University. They will provide us with an update at the November meeting. Hasn't that already been approved?
I think it was. I mean, Sheila sent it out, who could attend, and we've been paid for it.
Yeah, I think that we need to get it on this agenda for your approval, and you as a group need to say, yes, we're approving it because you have a budget and you're spending budget dollars. And so we need to do that. So it's kind of, in this case, it's kind of ratifying a decision that was made. But I don't think it was acted on. If it was acted on, and I don't think I was here. So, but that's why it's on the agenda.
Okay. So I move that the EAC fund the registration for the EAC Fall Regional Conference for myself and Ms. Kravanis to attend that meeting on Saturday. Do I have a
Sponsored
second?
by We Can Serve PA.
Sponsored by We Can Serve PA. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, we look forward to it. I know that Town will have a table there as well.
11.5, update on the following items. Okay, this I don't really have an update on, but I'll just say this is something that Sheila and I are monitoring. Is the DEP has issued guidance on developing a chapter 105 alternative analysis for environmental impact study. They offered a webinar on September 29th. Sheila and I both attended virtually. To be honest, it was pretty technical, pretty in-depth. I think it was more directed like at companies that are like doing fracking or major development. But I did, in listening to it as a novice to this area, I'm not a regulatory expert, it seemed like there might be some aspects of it that might be relevant to us. So can't get more detailed than that. But Sheila and I can circle back on that when she gets back in town. The next item is to reiterate what Dane had said, is that the free Newtown Square Sustainable Green Business reusable bags are now available in the library for residents who take the pledge to reduce their use of plastic bags. We thank the Newtown Library for their support with this effort. And as Sheila reported by email this afternoon, several people have already taken the pledge and they got a nice picture of a young mother with her baby bag. So hopefully we can get that out on social media, on Facebook or something. I guess if we get the woman's permission, that would be nice. Put a face to that.
So was it at her doing that she decided to send a picture to it? Or is it recommended when they get the bag, take a picture and?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't,
Would-
I think
would
it
be
was,
nice
it was the
if
library. It was
you
from the
get a
library.
picture.
Yeah, so I would think it would fall on the library to, you know, to get that permission.
Right.
And there's no
Or that
physical
suggestion.
pledge either. From what I understand, I think it's a ceremonial.
Oh, they don't have to sign.
There's no sign. No, they don't have to sign. That's, yeah.
Well,
I
you're-
did
you're working
clarify that.
on, right?
Yeah, I clarified that with Sheila. Yeah, so.
The next one is, Steve, is there any movement on the township's weed/meadow lawn alternative ordinance? Help residents with lawn conversions, meadows, naturalized lawns and lawn alternatives.
Yeah, I think this was I know that it's in the works, there's work that's been done. I know that this was the first priority based on what the board's priority was, and so that's why this one came first. I know there's about 5 ordinances that we're waiting on the solicitor to do some review on and work on, so I don't know the order. I think we're moving them around based on how things are happening, and so I would say, yes, it's in the works. I don't know where it falls right now in the order, but that's where we are.
Great.
And can you find out where it falls in the order?
Well, it moves based off, so what comes up, right? And so like, I know there's something that's coming up Monday night that's going to be on before the board that I think may move it. And so, but I mean, I know that currently, I think it's either the second or the third one that we're working on right now, of the ones we're working on. So, he has it, but I know that he hasn't been able to work on it yet. So,
I've got a number. Oh, yeah, speaking of that, I received an email from the executive assistant at Rond, said that correctly, who have their tenant in the office park up there. And they have submitted an application to Willistown Conservation Trust for a lawn to meadow conversion of a portion of their property. So we had notified them of that opportunity and just circled back with me to let me know that they had submitted it. And we, as a follow-up to that, sent a letter of support on their behalf to Willistown Conservation Trust. So that's exciting.
Yes, it
We
is
may-
very
We
exciting.
may have a meadow there.
I suggested that we would be happy to provide a signage as to what's going on there.
It's a mini grant opportunity.
Yeah, unless they want to pay for it themselves.
Yeah.
Always be nice. Can anybody give an update on the Birdtown EAC Garrett Williamson Bird Walk?
Yes.
That was held this
because,
past Saturday.
Yes, we had about 25 people come out to attend the bird walk. And it turned out to be a wonderful day. The weather was perfect for it. They recorded 35 different species. And it ended with a rainbow. So it was a perfect day, and our bird walks, which are sponsored as a partnership with Garrett Williamson. They opened their property to us for the walk, and partnered with the CRC from Ridley, Chester Creeks, who advertise it, and then Birdtown, who supports, of course, bird walks. So we were very happy with that attendance. And I wanted to mention that last weekend, I was at the Harvest Festival at Garrett Williamson. It was a rainy day, but they had a lot of people come out, and at least they put us in the sheep barn, so we didn't have to be outside. And so I was there with my Birdtown signs. And so it was a very nice event. Happy to represent the township, EAC, and
Great,
right.
doing that.
Yes.
Couple miscellaneous things that aren't really on the agenda, but just to remind everybody that the DCVA, Delaware, Darby Creek Valley Association, had requested that we provide an article about the township's efforts at stormwater management. So on behalf of the EAC, I had drafted an article and provided a number of photos. And that will be published soon. I just saw a draft of the newsletter all laid out. And Steve, you'll be happy that the township we are the lead article.
oh, that's nice.
Really nice coverage for the township. The township should be really happy because it's done a lot of things, and the article covers a lot of activities. So that will be nice when that comes out. In addition to the conference on Saturday, I'm also attending an all-day conference tomorrow, which is the annual Tree Canopy Conference, sponsored by Morris Arboretum of the University of Pennsylvania and held at Haverford College. I've attended this for several years, and it's really excellent. And it's going to talk about Philadelphia's new tree plan, and always excellent speakers. So I hope to bring back some information. on that? Okay, so moving on to item number 12, public comment. Does not have to be on anything agenda. Oh. Can you
If I could
state,
have you come up to the podium, make sure the green light is on,
It is on.
and then you can go ahead.
state your name and address?
Right, Francie Stratman, 3840 Gradyville Road. And I just wanted the committee to be aware of where we live is where Debouton owns property on either side of our driveway from Gradyville Road over to Media Line Road to his new development there. And we recently have had surveyors around our edges of our property, and they've flagged some things, and I'm worried about the last proposal he had for development there that ripped apart the steep slope and riparian buffers and was all set to clear cut. And I'm just worried about it and didn't know whether the township knew of him starting up again. I mean, he's obviously starting up again.
The only thing I can tell you is I'm aware that he has suggested some proposals, but he hasn't turned anything into us. So until he does that, we have nothing to, we told him we can't make comment on him stopping by and saying, hey, I have an idea. But so I'm not aware of anything specific at this point that would say that this is going to happen, because there's nothing before the board. There's nothing before the planning commission at this point.
The riparian buffer stuff that was just, is that liable to take? I guess I worry that if things take effect before he resubmits the stuff, because he was blowing through the stuff that was on the last. So I guess I just concerned, I was happy to see that that's on there, but I'm hoping it's more stringent rules or laws or whatever.
It really depends on what point in the process it's in. So today, if he brought it in and he wouldn't be subject to it, once it gets before the board and the board starts to take action on it, then it becomes in a different spot. That's my understanding of how that works.
Thank you.
I have a question for Steve, but I guess I can ask you afterwards. It's about ash tree removal along Stony Brook.
What's the question?
Are-
So I mean, that's a broad
They-
statement. I don't know how to answer.
My HOA abuts
Yeah,
Stony Brook,
yes,
and there's been a number of ash trees removed along there.
yes,
Do you know, are they done
no.
with the work there? Okay.
What I can tell you is the township is in the process. I think there are 10 or 15 trees that we're taking down that are in there right now, that are dead ash trees. There were 5 or 6 trees that the township itself, the staff from the township felt that they could do on their own. And then, so we did those. And then my understanding is that we are hiring a arborist, tree person to come in and take the other ones down. They're either too close where they could potentially hit a home, or they're in a spot where we just didn't have access with our equipment
Okay.
to do it.
Okay,
Does-
great.
Does that, is that the
That's
question?
great.
Okay.
Yep, thanks for the update. Okay. Let's see what else. Any items for the next agenda? Obviously, we'll have a report from Janet and me on the EAC conference. I can also have a report from the tree canopy. I can try to, we can carry over this item about the chapter 105. And maybe provide an update on the DCC grants.
Sorry, I didn't catch. I
The
didn't catch the last
DCC
thing.
mini grants.
Oh,
update,
yeah, okay.
If there's been any movement on that. And Steve, should we carry over the, well, the wetlands. We'll probably have a discussion on that. And then Sawmill Road. So a number of these things I think will carry over. Anything else? Okay,
Plan to just
yep,
have a discussion.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I think that covers it for the evening, so I will adjourn the meeting at 5:59. We can go watch Phillies.
Really? What's happening?